again and welcome. I still often get asked questions regarding end grain hollowing and I do quite a bit of that with my goblets and boxes, etc. So I thought I'd go through various methods of end grain hollowing for you to practice as a newer turner or somebody who has problems getting a good finish on end grain, and you can take away some of the techniques, have a practice and see which one actually suits you the best. So without further ado, let's go through end grain hollowing. So what I'm going to be doing is using bits of what I call scrap wood. I formed a very basic goblet shape. The same theory applies to boxes and any end grain hollowing. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make a depth hole. Now these are my methods, you don't have to follow them obviously. So first of all, just get off, start off and just make a little dent there. Now there are several methods of making a depth hole. You can do it with the spindle gouge. I'm using a 3/8 here at the moment. Now what you need there is to have the point of the tool at center when the tool is at 90 degrees or parallel to the bars. Okay, so you want it horizontal. Speed again around the 1000 RPM, and what you do is to just slightly tilt to the left and start and just push in, and then you can just push in, push in, push in, get rid of the excess, push in, lift the handle slightly so that you're actually cutting on the wing. No great pressure needed, and there you have your depth hole. Now there are other methods of getting your depth hole, and I'll do that later on in the video. So the next thing now is the way I like to do it, but there are other ways which I'll also show you later on in the video, is with a 3/8 spindle gouge at your normal cutting position. And you want to be, what we're going to be doing is back hollowing and using just to the left of the nose. Now again, speed is your choice. I like to do this sort of an operation at around 1500 RPM, something like that. Now what we're doing here, and watch where I'm holding the tool close to the blade at the end of the handle, and my right leg is forward, so I'm nicely balanced, and downward pressure as you would normally, and at about, I don't know, something like 2 o'clock, something like that, just engage and move away from yourself, and again go in and move. And the reason I'm holding it close to the blade is that I don't have to move so far. My right leg is forward, so I don't lose balance. Now if we go here, you can see we're getting a nice shaving. To the end, and you just literally carry on that down the piece. Now you can hear that screeching. It's because I'm not giving it enough swing. We go here, that's all fine. Now we go into the middle again. So when we get that screech, it means that we're not actually swinging enough for where the cutting edge is touching the wood. so we need to swing quicker. Let's just have a look at the finish on that, and as I say, this is an offcut of something like larch or something like that. It's quite a wide-grained wood, and then we just carry on. Down to the end. I'm not going to go all the way through, but I think you get the idea. And then you can literally just take a scraper. If you want to finish off, get a good, better finish. I mean, I use negative rate scrapers, as you know, and you literally just very, very gently to the edge, and you can see there's quite a nice finish even for a piece of rubbishy wood like this. Another way of getting a depth hole is using a drill bit. Now I use this cheap keyless chuck, and what I've done there, I've put it on a handle, and what I like about this is it gives me the opportunity to extend the drill bit to the depth I want, let's just say there, and then tighten up, and I've got my depth hole ready sorted. I've made a little indent here just to get the drill bit started. You don't need massive speed. Something around 1000 RPM is fine. You want to have your handle vertical, horizontal rather, not vertical, and no great pressure, just let it, and then just push in. Get rid of the bits of swarf there, nice and gently, and push in. And there we go, and that's our depth hole. So that's another way of doing it. You can, if you so wish, bring up the tool rest. I don't like using this method, but if you've got a longer drill bit, you can do that and use the rest as a support and go in. I don't particularly like that, but I just use it by hand, and most of the time I will use the spindle gouge to do the depth hole. Now, another method of hollowing, if you so wish, I very rarely use this, if ever, but you can use a scraper. I mean, all mine are negative rakes, as you know, but the same thing applies. If you have an ordinary scraper, you just need to lift the handle a bit, and again, you just rock back and forth. So you can get the same result by using a scraper. I'm not going to go all the way down, but you get the idea, because a negative rake isn't really ideal for this, but an ordinary scraper would take away more wood. But there is that method. I've always said that people don't, unless you're a wood turner, they don't care how you got to the end result. So you can use what you like, basically. That's just another method that I'm showing you. The other method, of course, is like if you're hollowing a little bowl, just doing a push cut. So the problem I do find with this, that there is a bigger chance of getting a catch. I sometimes use it to get a finish if I don't want to bother with a scraper, with a negative rake scraper, to get a really nice finish. So you can do that as well, and that is quite effective. But of course, this is a 3/8 spindle gouge. If I'm doing any hollowing, I would normally use a 1/2 inch, but not everybody's got a 1/2 inch spindle gouge, so that's why I'm showing you with the 3/8. Now, the final method I'm going to show you now is one that I've seen Richard Raffan use, and it's the one that he was taught in the beginning and he's always used. It does take a bit of practice. My advice is to start off with the lathe slow when you're learning the cut, but basically what you're doing, and I wouldn't be using a 3/8 spindle gouge, I'd use my 1/2 inch for more stability. However, we'll have a bash with the 3/8, and you're actually taking a shaving, you're using the opening that you make, and you're using that as a fulcrum, and you're bringing the tool, your handle down, and you're actually taking the shaving off the same part of the wing. You can actually use a lot more of the wing if you wish on this method, and then you bring it out and go back in and bring it out. So we'll have a bash and see how it goes, and I'll keep it in if I mess it up. Okay, so I do have a depth hole on this, but you can go in with your tool at this position and go in, come round and go in, and then fulcrum up. And you can see I'm not very good at it, but it does bring out a lot of wood. Now, just 3 or 4 passes and the finish isn't too bad either. Now, if I use my 1/2 inch, which is a bit more stable, let's see how we get on with that. Again, start off with the tool with the flute completely closed to find the middle, and then bring it up. Go in again to find the middle. And then lift it and swing. It does definitely bring out a fair bit, and obviously if you've got a bit of a the edge isn't square, you can just square that off. So yeah, we'll have one more go. As I say, I'm still practicing it, but you can see it does work. Anyhow, that's an alternative way as well, which does need quite a bit of practice to perfect. Well, I hope you found that of some interest. The main thing to take away from this is that whatever method or technique that you employ, it does require practice. And I always say, practice, practice, and a bit more practice. And I think that is self-evident on the last method I showed you, which was what I will call the Richard Raffan method. Very effective at moving stock, but it does require practice. And once you understand the mechanics behind that method, then you can keep trying to perfect your technique to get the most out of it, as indeed with all methods that you use. Well, thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers now.